you got to be really into it. It's a lot of inconsistency you can get caught up in if you're
Do
not.
you want to
guys have
call
no
out
idea
RG3?
how much we
Are we going to
talked
call
about
out RG3
anime.
right now?
No, we're not going to call out RG3. But you
No,
guys
do
have
it!
Call out
Talking about
RG3.
RG3. Shots have been fired in your direction. Mike Golic Jr. is demanding you come on Debatable to debate something, which is a thing Debatable does not actually do. But that topic
This came up.
Ball Z.
This only came up because I said that Bob, as I call him affectionately, is coming for Orlovsky's throne when it comes to his telestrator. Well, he may do so, but in the meantime, if he wants to come for the crown of biggest anime fan at ESPN, he's going to have to go through me because there are very few things, and I mean probably just this one thing that I am better at in life than Robert Griffin III. That is definitely going to be the one that I will actually go to battle for.
I mean, your T-shirt is proving this. This is how we begin Debatable today. Debatable, by the way, which is a TV show that's not really a TV show where we debate nothing. That's Mike Golic Jr. Clint Yates is beneath me. And how are we starting this if we're not going to actually get RG3 on the program today?
We're going to start with trending topics.
Stand by. I can't hear. There we go.
And our first trending topic. The Dodgers beat the Cards on a walk-off. Do you now view them as the favorites to knock off the Giants?
So before we do this, Clinton, because I know you have a million baseball takes. Before we do this, can I just acknowledge how much I love that baseball denies itself pleasure for 162 games, and then as soon as the postseason starts, it's like the Rumspringa. Like everybody is letting loose the celebration on this. No one has any shame about how much they're going to celebrate getting to the divisional series. So I love that. And Clint Yates, who is suffering technical difficulties, is, I think, in a prison of his own emotions, Mike, because if he can't spit baseball takes on a day after there's a walk-off home run to win in LA, that's a nightmare for Clinton, I think.
Yeah, no, Clinton walking into a day where he was going to get to talk about Max Scherzer looking crazy in public, all the things associated with that. Juan Soto showing up in the Nats jersey to support one of his former teammates. All of this skews so Clinton Yates that you're right. It is very much like what you just said, baseball denying itself its own pleasure. I thought of cicadas last night, Pablo, because so often when I think of Major League Baseball games and the fans that go and watch them during the regular season, it's a passive viewing experience, right? You can go to the ballpark. There's a lot of other things to do. Shout out to the Hartford Yard Goats, where I go and support all the time here in Connecticut. Yeah. But when you got to this postseason last night, it was an absolute snake pit there for the Dodgers at home. It was electric to try and watch it. So I think all of that together, coupled with Clinton, who is now overtaking our entire screen.
Wait, why are we hiding from this? Show what's happening. Show the fact that this system is destroying itself. So basically, Clinton Yates' face is frozen in judgment, and there it is. Yes. Oh my God, Mike, this is a dream, man. This is
exactly what I always wanted for this show, especially early on here. I want you, we're here to show you how the sausage gets made. It is disgusting.
It is disgusting and also delicious if you're into that sort of a kink, which I think I am. I want to show you what it looks like at the worldwide leader in sports. It looks like this. but Mike, I want to follow up on cicadas here for a second, because the idea, part of the metaphor too, I think, is the fact that I don't necessarily pay attention to baseball super deeply. I lie in hibernation for what feels like, 17 years as cicadas bury themselves into the ground. And then, I emerge and suddenly I care about this thing. And I care about this thing not just because there's a walk-off home run, but because we get Walker Buehler, the Dodgers, best pitcher, arguably, the guy who was burned at the end of the regular season, so couldn't pitch in this one. And so Max Scherzer comes along. And yes, this dude who was terrible for the last 20 games comes along and hits a walk-off home run. But the fact that we get guys opening bottles of beer with their teeth in the clubhouse afterwards and then shaming everybody for asking, why are you opening a bottle of beer with your teeth? That's the baseball culture that I'm really here for.
Yeah, it really does get whittled down into one really pure version of itself. By the way, if you could and you can open a beer with your teeth, you always should. Like, I am soft, and so I know I can't do this, and I'll never try, but I'm certainly going to live in awe of the savages that can. Like, who would ever give him grief about that?
Mike, I want to give you a compliment. Based purely on stereotypes, I would have assumed that you could do that.
No, Pablo, more than fair. Like, I would look at me and assume a lot of things, but high on that list was that I would be great at shotgunning beers and great at opening beer bottles with my teeth. And I am great at neither of those things. And I have to spend a lifetime trying to deflect from that shame. So, yeah, you're in on the secret now, along with, whoever the hell's watching this right now.
So I guess the question that they asked us, by the way, as the number of people who are watching this right now is varying wildly based on the fact that we are not yet able to reveal that Clinton Yates is still just frozen in that position, which I think is, Mike, when Han Solo got frozen into carbonite and he was in this, like, this is how Clinton Yates should be remembered. He should be remembered on a fake television skiff sort of floating through the galaxy in judgment, because the funny thing about this is that there is no person I know who is more excited for the fact that the Dodgers would then be playing the Giants in this divisional series than Clinton Yates. Nobody.
Yeah, this is cruel and unusual because you're right. The two people who care about baseball the least have now been given the largest platform to talk about this. Clinton's face certainly reflects the level of disgust that I feel like he's feeling for this. And so mercifully, we're going to get away from this and watch Clinton stand in judgment over every take we make from here on out.
Alabaster. Yes! We can see you! Wait, Clinton. No. Clinton. Before we move on here, yes.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh, it's so bad.
There's one guy in California and the internet doesn't work. I just don't know how else to say this.
Clinton,
guys,
Alas.
let's move on to our next trending topic.
All right.
It's football. This is something you guys care about. Do you think the Seahawks can keep up with the Rams tonight?
Man. So Gojo, I'm curious about this because the Seahawks, they were not good basically until last week and when they showed up and they were suddenly like, oh, wait, no, this is a team that could actually win this division. And the Rams, on the other hand, their defense quietly, I think they're 20th in DVOA right now defensively. So in terms of the potential chaos of this game, it feels like this is going to be really fun, and it also feels like this version of Russell Wilson absolutely can beat this version of the Rams, even though we think the Rams might be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those games where, number one, the Seahawks defense, that has been a big pile of stink for the vast majority of this year, too. So there's that issue to contend with. I'm wondering how healthy Matthew Stafford is. He looked off in their last game in ways that I wasn't ready for here. And that's not to take credit away from the Cardinals, but it's to say that combination of Stafford to Cooper Kupp had been the most lethal thing in football through the first quarter of the season here, as we've now really slotted Clinton Yates out of here. I'm glad we had it ready. That's a real know thyself thing. And by the way, I see the Rams. Lowest pressure rate in the NFL, 20th in DVOA. All of that holds right now. We know the coordinator that was a part of a lot of that success last year is now with the Chargers. We also know defense, according to our friends at Football Outsiders, one of the toughest things to replicate year over year. The thing that's still an advantage for them in this game is this is still the Seahawks offensive line we're talking about. And while it's improved in a bunch of ways here, the Shane Waldron offense that they want to run, that replicates some of what the Rams have done. This is a guy they've got that familiarity with facing. It still means you got to protect the quarterback in ways that I don't know if they're capable of. Couple that on offense that if he is healthy, I think Matthew Stafford returns back to form. I think this is a defense they can move the ball on because the big story of this year is the Rams have fixed the offensive line, and that's the foundation that allows the rest of this to thrive.
So is this where I get bagels?
Safe? Here we go.
Is this where I get bagels? I want everything with ham, egg, and cheese, and a tomato. I really need the tomato. Is that where?
Clinton,
this is where we talk about
Clinton.
Sports. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Welcome back.
Hi.
Welcome back, man.
I don't know what happened.
Anything you want to tell us about this particular game?
I heard there was a baseball game last night, but number two, Gojo, I also heard that the thing that Sean McVay does, and I want to ask you about this, is that he doesn't just try to win the games on the field. He tries to outcoach the other coach at the same time. And sometimes that kind of gets him caught up. And I think that's what happened last week. And I want to know your thoughts about that. Do football coaches do that more than people realize? Or they're like, oh, no, I'm going to outsmart that guy. Never mind, win this football game.
I don't have a ton of experience with that actually being a thing here. Like, Sean McVay seems like someone who is proud enough to maybe do that. That being said, like, I don't know if any of what we've seen with the Cardinals is necessarily Cliff Kingsbury out coaching anybody here. Like, he's got a Kyler Murray and everyone else doesn't right now. That defense is like an island of freak athlete misfit toys that are just managing to be opportunistic enough to give Kyler more opportunities. So right. I don't think the Seahawks can keep up with the Rams tonight. I think the Rams get back on track here. And I think the win for all of us in the gas bag industry is if this keeps going south for the Seahawks, we get to start talking about all that strife from the offseason again, because that didn't go away. We just stopped talking
about that. Where are we on whether Russ is allowed to cook? Like, where? Because he was in the kitchen, then he was out of the kitchen, and now he's back, but he wasn't to begin the year. Where are we on that? Because now, obviously, you look at the stats.
Did you see the Met Gala?
Alabaster King.
Did you see the Met Gala? Because that's where we are on Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is doing just fine as far as
he's cooking with all sorts of gas.
He's cooking with all sorts. Thank you. He's got I mean, the kitchen. You know how like you go to some people's kitchens and you're like, oh, you have your pots in a drawer, and then you go to some people's kitchens and they have the whole thing hanging with this like delicate looking situation. Iron. Yeah, this is how Russell Wilson's kitchen looks. Okay, forget about what's happening with the Seahawks. All right, Pete Carroll can figure that out. Russell Wilson is cooking divinely in his kitchen every single day of the week.
Mike, what's your kitchen looking like these days?
I don't have any of those. You guys can look at my kitchen right over here if you want. Sorry to Bill and everyone here, but that's my kitchen. It is not anything fancy at all. I think I've got one flower pot and I think 8 different signs in my house that have something to do with pugs. So I have a very clear theme in here.
You know what I've been doing? Wow. I've just been throwing those pizzas that you're supposed to put in the oven into the microwave, and I've been skipping all of the steps. I don't have time for this anymore, man. I'm a dad. I'm just microwaving everything. What? Wait, there's a new top. All right, you guys already? Okay, Alabaster, right. What do you got for us then? Your strong guidance here.
Our final trending topic. Do you still have energy for the Bryson and Brooks feud, or is it starting to feel stale?
I'd like to raise my hand here to open commentary because as somebody who is I wouldn't go so far as to call myself a non-golf fan, but golf exists very much outside of the things that I care about, but it still exists in the things that I watch realm. Bryson and Brooks is massively important material to me on a lot of levels, okay? These two guys are the two kind of guys that I expect golf to have. They're the two kind of guys I expect to be beefing in the golf world. And when they came together gloriously at the Ryder Cup, can we get the clip? This was so great.
I think before this is all over, we should have Brooks and Bryson hug in the middle of the room to prove how much of a team we are.
Bro love, Gojo.
They're going to hug, right? Why can't we be friends?
This
is
uncomfortable. Justin Thomas, stop
karaoke
it.
too.
There you go.
Oh.
Should we get the trophy in the middle?
There
you go. Hold the trophy. In the middle.
Of course it's Bryson initiating, too.
Not really. Oh, man. I mean, listen. For those of us who understand the business of diplomacy, this was a major moment in bro diplomacy for me.
Wait. I mean, that was not a hug with equal enthusiasm. That was remarkably disproportionate. And it kind of speaks to why I am still fascinated in this. And it's mostly because it feels like Bryson is like, sort of doing this long con of just talented Mr. Ripleying Brooks Koepka. Like, he thinks he's the nerd, but then he got jacked, and Brooks is like, you're getting a little too jacked because I'm jacked. And now they're trying to become friends, but one of them's going to take the other on a rowboat off the Amalfi Coast, and, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah, see, this is a prime example of why not all beef is created equal. Because in one case here, we have someone whose muscle is an actual ethos, and we have someone else's whose muscle is a cover. Bryson
Yes.
DeChambeau's muscle is a cover. That is
Yeah.
stolen valor. That is what he did in this situation for purely golf purposes. Brooks has been living this life on the beef trail for a long time. He's not new to this. He's true to this. And so he sees this as a personal affront. That's why this is all going so wrong. And it's important because it's golf finally giving us something that we ask for. This gentleman's sport that is really, even with this, tried to take a good thing and put it off to the side. Talked about how they don't find it quite as tasteful as they want to. Like, they just finally said, all right, line them up. We'll give them 12 holes, which, tangent, the perfect amount of golf holes to play.
Mm-hmm.
And then let this happen. These guys genuinely hate each other. That's the most useful commodity in sports. Kudos to golf for actually realizing it.
But it does.
Pablo,
feel
this
like
is trending towards celebrity boxing. Pardon me for jumping in.
No,
this is
I-
trending
no,
towards
I was no, Clint. That's
about.
where I'm
Oh
headed.
yeah,
That's where I'm headed, man. Because even if they don't want to participate, the money in this is now too good. Like, even if you don't actually find this interesting, if you're either of these two guys, you know that there's a paycheck here, and you know that this ends up being the way that normies talk about golf. And so you are now also, much like Clint Yates was for the first segment of this fake TV show, you're locked in this prison that you cannot escape from because, yes, this is what the incentives economically are telling you to do.
What's your follow-up
Dude,
question,
bro.
Charlie?
Do you
I was
guys actually
locked
want to
in,
watch
dude. I was
this?
like, you should have seen me scramble. Like,
Hell yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna watch this. Are you kidding me? Like, mic everybody up. Let's go. Let's see what they're wearing. Let's see who's got the tightest top. That's what we're going for here. Okay.
Well, that's the thing too, is you mentioned the mic'd up part, because I've tuned into all the rest of these. And I know for a lot of them, there's not as much genuine hate. 12 holes, while the perfect length for getting out of golf before your back hurts, is also the perfect length for them to forget that they're mic'd up. Because you're going to give Brooks so much exposure to Bryson that eventually, like, the thin veil of decency that we all try and walk outside with, that thing's going to get ripped to shreds, and it's going to be awesome.
12
Yo,
holes,
I'm-
12 beers. That's how it works.
All right, next topic. What do we got?
All right, guys, it is time to play a game. And the game is Who Done It? We'll give you a quote or maybe a picture today, and you guys have a minute to come together to tell us who done it. And the first Who Done It today, my parents went out without me. I was just home with my dog Uno watching film. Was this A, Justin Fields, B, Justin Herbert, C, Kyler Murray, or D, Lamar Jackson?
Wow. All right, we have to come to a democratic consensus on this. Justin Herbert, I mean, does he seem like a guy who would own a dog named Uno? I feel
No.
As the delegate from the black community, I can say absolutely not. There's zero chance that the dog named Uno. That's
All
so
right,
we
so
can
we have-
cross out Lamar Jackson.
You can
Lamar
eliminate
Jackson
my
eliminated.
favorite white quarterback in the league right now, Justin Herbert. Yes.
Yeah.
All
we
right,
can
so-
cross off the Caucasian delegate from this run.
And
Oh,
Kyler.
bastard, you crossed off the wrong one. Okay. All right.
No, wait. No, we can cross off Justin. We can cross Lamar. I mean, it has this feels like it's either Kyler or Justin Fields. We're leaning Justin Fields on this, right? Like, that's
Yes.
What do we got?
We're leaning Justin Fields because that's Nagy's strategy for how he runs his quarterback operation, is basically playing Uno. He's looking for draw fours to stack every time because he doesn't have an actual plan to play football in the National Football League.
And he keeps on
That's
going.
good
in
Uno
reverse.
comp.
What do we got?
Right.
My parents were actually at my house last night. I told them, and they wanted to go out to celebrate, and I told them, nah, I'm cool, because I'm kind of winning this weekend. So, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, of course, there's some reason to celebrate, but I'm not just gonna be complacent with where I'm at. I'm gonna continue to grow, continue to get better, and just try to work hard each and every day to get wins on Sundays. So.
They didn't go out without you?
They went out without me, yeah. So
Where'd they go?
at home. I'm not sure. I'm not sure where they went last night, but yeah, I was just home, yeah, with my dog Uno watching film last night. So that's all I was doing.
Do you see what's happening there? I have a lot to say about that. That is the local press corps doing a new one. You see them laughing heartily at the goofball, not really that fun jokes. Everybody's in on it, egging him on. Justin has them in the palm of his hands. They like him better than they like the head coach. Get ready, Chicago.
Mike, what I saw there was a guy who was coming up with a very elaborate excuse to say, I don't really enjoy going out with my parents, which I think you're fair to say.
Yeah.
It's okay to say that, Justin Fields. You're an adult. You don't need to go out to dinner with your folks to celebrate a big win at work. You can just do your own thing. You don't have to come up with some elaborate thing. I got to watch films. Like, no, I'm a grown man. I can just do my own thing.
I want to know, did he name the dog Uno after his own jersey number?
This is a great question.
Because before I thought it was cool because it sets you up to for easy dog naming if you want to add to the family, because then you just got Dos, Tres, Cuatro. Like, you can keep this train going, but
Catorce,
I need to know if he got.
Is a tough one. When you get that far, that's tricky. But that's an old.
Yeah, if he gets to Catorce, all of a sudden we got to ask other questions about Justin and the herd there. But did he really go?
I don't know.
I also love that he did it because he expected to be the number 1 overall pick, and now he has to stare at this reminder that infuriates him every time.
It takes
he
a crap
is
on all of his favorite
Uno.
flowers, and you're like, no, why would you do that?
Oh, man.
All right, guys, you ready for the next one?
We are, sir.
Yeah.
All right, our next whodunit. For you to be able to come to Notre Dame, there is one rule. No sexual intercourse throughout the whole school. I decommitted on Monday. And your choices are A, Juju Smith-Schuster, B, Isaiah McKenzie, C, TJ Watt, or D, Jamal Adams.
Listen, I could not care less who this quote is from. Gojo, this is your account. What are we talking about here? I need to know the bylaws and what we like to call the my-laws in terms of how it goes in these streets in South Bend. What on earth is happening, sir? This is not okay.
Yeah, I can eliminate the mystery. It was Isaiah McKenzie. And I have had beef with this quote for an entire day. And I have been formulating a plan here. Because what Isaiah McKenzie's talking about is something called parietals at Notre Dame. You want to play the sound here, and then I can explain the sexual scene at Notre Dame to everybody.
Let's bottle up the energy, Mike, as the topic is suggesting that Notre Dame also demands that you do. Let's play this clip.
Committed to Notre Dame for a while, and I wasn't too sure if I wanted to go. So what happened was, I got to campus. This is rated for all the kids. Close your ears. I got to campus, and the coach goes, yeah, we have one room. And I didn't know if he was kidding or not. He goes, for you to be able to come here, there's no sexual intercourse throughout the whole school. Oh, what? All right. And I'm like, is that for real? On Monday, I decommitted.
That sounds like a pretty bad recruiting trip, Mike. A pretty bad recruiting trip. What is actually happening here that we're not understanding?
Well, first off, it is yes, my doppelganger. Every bald, bearded white guy looks the same. I've said this for years. We are all the same person. Don't overthink that one.
You're all Zhang.
Second off. So there's this thing called parietals at Notre Dame. We have same-sex dorms all throughout the campus there. Guys are in one dorm, girls are in one dorm all throughout campus. You got to be out of the other sex's dorm after midnight on weeknights, after 2 a.m. on the weekends here, yada, yada, yada. If you want me to say it out loud, I had sex while I was at college. Like, if that's what we want this to
Put
go.
that on a card. Put that on a card.
Put that one on a card, Charlie.
God, that was so good.
I can make some calls if you want proof.
I was going to talk about
I do want proof.
Glory of that Buffalo Bills neon in the corner of that interview that was gloriously fitting, which is so distractingly annoying. But we're going full bore. Let me ask you a question. Okay, let me say this. Let me ask you a question. Were you wearing your Dragon Ball Z shirt? For Gojo? Yes.
Wait, what did you say, Pablo?
I said, were you wearing your Dragon Ball Z shirt at the time?
And I said, what were the name of the dorms that you got the most run in? Name them.
Listen, I will not confirm or deny or incriminate anything along those lines. No, it's not time
fully
for a new
disagree.
topic on this
No.
because I have
Get
to
that
defend
card
my
out of
school
here.
because
Yes.
Isaiah McKenzie wants everyone to believe recruits. This is not true. What he sold you is a lie. It is perfectly normal what goes on there. Don't worry about that. That is slander, and I will not tolerate that in public for my alma mater here because that reflects poorly on me in ways that I've already cleared up on this show.
How do you spell that word that spells the no sex rule? Like what was that word?
Listen, I graduated
Parietals?
long enough ago to where spelling is not something I do anymore.
What is parietal? What is the word? I've never heard that word before. I don't even know what that means. Parietals? What is that?
It means don't get it on after a certain time in this building.
Oh man, that's
awful. Yeah, it's. Listen,
but guess who got it on after a certain time in all of those buildings?
Okay, it's time for our next trending topic. Sorry, not even that. Our next Who Done It.
No. Right now. We know who did it. It was Mike Golic Jr.
Oh my God.
Our final one is a photo. Who is this guy? A, Mike Golic Jr., B, Jason Kidd, C, Vin Diesel, or D, Brian Cardinal?
I mean, I know the answer to this question,
So
but
do
the
I.
real answer obviously is C. Like this is Jason Kidd cosplaying as Vin Diesel, and I'm ready for this phase in Jason Kidd's life. If you want to show the other photo that I assume you also have to reveal the answer to this. Yes.
Right.
What?
Right.
This is a
You've never seen
man
this?
for whom family is very important, Mike.
So let's talk about a couple things here, Gojo. Number one, the collar situation is outrageously out of control. The fabric overlay there is just there's just
large.
way too much excess. Can we go back to that quickly, Mr. Alabaster? Let's go back to that because I have a second thing I have to note on that picture from the front. Look at the buttonry as well. Those are not just your normal holes and snaps. Those are shiny buttons that make a noise when you put them on and take them off, meaning there is a rip open element coming to this, Pablo, that's going to be glorious. I need to know what the t-shirt is underneath because that clearly was designed to come off.
Yo, the size of his lapels, like the collar thing here, it looks like he's caught between Vin Diesel and also Pitbull. And
yeah.
I love this for him.
Mr.
Mike,
Worldwide.
I feel like this is a look that you could also pull off.
Oh, 100%. That being said, I'm trying to process all that. I didn't realize Jason Kidd was in the weight room like that. His yoke is
Also
impressive here.
He's also been on the beef trail, as you called it earlier.
Yes, that's the underrated part of this is he went and got baseball player forearms after an NBA career. So,
yo, have you seen, by the way, have you guys seen Mike Bibby? Have you guys seen Mike Bibby recently?
Of course.
I mean, let me try and pull up Mike Bibby on my phone. Hold on.
Yeah, he's the patron saint of the
you guys see that?
Got jacked out of nowhere community.
Jacked Mike Bibby.
Yeah, I don't want to tango with Mike Bibby.
Listen, I don't want to accuse anyone of anything, but I have questions about how that was achieved.
Family.
Next topic, right now.
If Mike Bibby sees modern Vin Diesel, will they eat each other like people on the same timeline and time travel?
I watched Godzilla vs. Kong on a plane, and I would watch that fight in front of my face, okay? It's the same difference.
What's next, Alabaster?
It's time for another game.
I love games.
And the game is, what are the chances? In this game, we give you a topic, you tell us the chances. The first one is...
talk about those chimes? That was weird. Anyway, go ahead.
What are the chances Boban should shoot more threes during the regular season?
I mean...
Oh, please, God, yes.
Pull
up to the scene with my ceiling missing.
He took more than one in this game?
Oh, he drained more than one. Look at them
Lord.
going nuts. Okay, listen. I'm going to go first on this so you can fill it in. you're going to have to write 4 things: a 1, a 0, a 0, and a percent. Because if the bench is going to go nuts like that, it's a 100% chance that this guy should be shooting more threes if for no reason other than the bench mob reacts, which is basically what I live for in the NBA.
Well, hold on. Yes. Because look, if I'm voting on this as a guy who does a fake TV show that wants more clips to talk about in game formats, of course the answer is 100%. If I'm actually like the coach of if I too am a jacked Mike Bibby / Vin Diesel type head coach, as Jason Kidd apparently is, the answer should be 0%. I don't want this dude shooting threes. There's such a big difference between the preseason and actual games. Boban's not actually good at this. This is a nightmare for me if that guy starts thinking that he too can be Nikola Jokic.
I have a very specific number in mind here. 76%. As in Philadelphia, 1-for-1 Ben Simmons for Boban right now to increase that production here.
Yeah!
Thank you for seeing that vision, Alabaster.
That is a delayed draw straight to the house from Gojo. What a play call right there. I love that.
We used to live in a world where power forwards and centers didn't need to shoot threes. Now we're in a world where Boban Marjanovic, who is better at killing John Wick with a book than he is at shooting threes, is suddenly deluded into thinking that, yes, this too is his future. And yes, of course, Ben Simmons. Yeah, let's all make fun of the guy who doesn't shoot threes. Yes. How many times are you going to do this on this fake television show, Alabaster? Do you have any other cards you want to show America here? Are we good?
I mean, listen, at least Boban tried to kill him with that book. Ben Simmons would have lobbed it to the next guy.
Okay.
Or just read it and acted like what was going to be reading was going to change the way the basketball game changed. It doesn't.
Wow. Somehow, the guy who isn't wearing the Dragon Ball Z shirt gets the nerd card. Very good.
Yes.
All right.
We're in a post-racial America. We've made it.
The chimes. Can we talk about the chimes? They make me feel like I'm going to another dimension. I love it.
Totally normal chimes. Find a new slant. Our final topic. What are the chances John Collins had the dunk of the year last night?
Oh, I saw this. This was a good one. He elevated and then decided.
Oh, this is good Lord. So this is on Jared Allen.
Say about this that I can't say.
Yeah.
It's the first word is a word I'm not going to say, but on the shoulder are the next 3 words. And whenever you execute that task when you're dunking, that means you've done it very well.
I mean,
on a legitimate shot blocker too.
No, Jared Allen.
He dunked over.
Jared Allen is like a guy whose job is exclusively to block shots, and the answer is 100%. It's 100%. Like that is John Collins for all of the things that I've learned about him. His ability to elevate and place parts of his anatomy in places that I didn't think people could place them is absolutely why this is 100% the right answer. Yes.
I think Allen is a rim protector, as they like to say on association Twitter, but I don't think this is. I think the reason why I don't think this is going to be the dunk of the year is because I think John Collins is going to have better dunks this season. This dude is a monster. You know what I'm saying? He can do better in transition and in more traffic. This was a preseason John Collins dunk for somebody that is a John Collins fan.
I'm going to go 75% on this one because, Clinton, I agree with you that this is preseason. We'll have room for better. At the same time, this is preseason, meaning the Jared Allens of the world are less inclined to actually go up and put themselves on the line.
No,
you got more free run to these dunks.
Can we watch this one more time? Can we just fully appreciate why I gave 100% on this?
Like, it was the grab. It wasn't even the finish. It was the fact that he even got to that. Like, look at how far. This is an off lob. And he managed to corral it. What a play.
When your other arm is boosting the rest of your body and using the dude's body as a stepladder, you got to fake an injury. You got to pull out of there. Jared Allen, man. Court awareness.
Do we have the back end of that clip? Do we have the back end of that clip where Collins just landed like on his tuchus and he just sat there and like gave one of these? He just looked like, please come over. Like, watch him just sit down.
Look at Kevin Herter. Look at Kevin Herter. In the background, just dudes
No
throwing.
idea what to do.
Ugh.
I mean, that's the kind of height that I would only get on a trampoline, where when I get to the top, I'm scared of how the landing's going to go. Like, that's got to be scary to come down from being that athletic. I applaud him.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
0%,
my Lord.
sir. That's what it is. It's 0%. This is the dunk of the year because he's going to have a better one.
Wow. The Jared
Yeah, I
Allen
know.
lobby
I
shows
guarantee
up.
Jared Allen lobby.
Wow.
Oh, this
no.
means it's the end. Okay,
Oh,
no.
I've done this before. This means you have to get your shout outs in. Black History Always is my podcast. We're talking about hockey this year because I'm a new Seattle Kraken fan. Okay, Washington Capitals, I'm sorry I had to break up with you. It was a great run. I love you to death, but it's not going to happen any longer. The Kraken have better uniforms, and they have a brother that's
Flynn,
the
you
voice
could
of
be
their radio
talking
team.
about baseball,
Sorry.
but right now you didn't even talk about baseball today. You've wasted these last
Everyone-
2 seconds.
That's
Do your
the
Clinton
premium
Yates
content,
pose.
sir. That's the
RG3.
premium content.
I'm coming for you, Robert.
This
I'm
guy,
coming for
this
you.
guy has had sex in college, and he is
Boom.
expecting you to show up and lose to him
More
in
than
an anime
once.
debate.
Maybe.
More than one. Perhaps.
I like to think that the confetti there was a metaphor.
Stop it! Go away! What are you doing?
I mean, debatable.
Shut it down.
That's
Let's go.
debatably a metaphor. For our friendship, what are you guys talking about? It's messy sometimes.
Shut